we are going to be talking about the B word again. Yes, the B word, boundaries. And I have my friend Karin here with me, and she is one of the amazing speakers that's going to be at the summit coming up very soon. The B word, healing one boundary at a time. And I just want to introduce you to her, let her share a little bit about who she is, how she helps in the world. And then we'll just talk about boundaries for a little bit and make sure you know how to get signed up. So Karin, I would love for you to introduce yourself to everybody watching.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sam, for doing this, for inviting me to be part of this amazing event. I think boundaries are one of the most important factors for our mental, emotional, and physical health and well-being. That being said, I'm a health coach. I'm a transformation coach. I specialize in working with breast cancer survivors, many of whom are just the way that I used to be. I'm a recovering people pleaser, a recovering perfectionist. And I say recovering because it's like those habits, those old habits can drop into our lap at any point in time. And we just need to gently remind ourselves, hey, we don't do that anymore. So my story, I grew up in the UK, if anybody's hearing an accent. So I just want to be able to dispel where is she from so that you can actually listen to what I'm saying. Grew up in the UK, moved to the US in 1988. So my accent is now confused, is what I call it. It's like a little bit of everything. I grew up very much, and I think you might relate to this, Sam, in that era, as well as everybody watching and listening, in the era where children will be seen and not heard. Right? So I was never asked, Karin, what do you want? Karin, how do you feel? Karin, what would you like to do? Like, no, those were not even, and I'm not blaming anybody. It was literally a social norm at the time. And so it's just where it was. But so I learned to be invisible. I learned that my sense of self-worth was for what I could do for others. And I tried very hard for decades to try and make everybody else happy.
How did that work? How did that work out for you?
You already know the answer to
Same,
that one, right?
same.
And so it's real important for us to revisit these old habits and let people know that this is so common, so common. But also with that being said, just because it's the way it may always have been for you, it does not mean that you have to stay stuck in those same paths.
Yeah, I just did an interview with another woman, Tammy, that's going to be one of the speakers. And this ties back to something we were talking about, that just because something was true at one time does not mean it's still true.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
So being able to take the pause, the moment to say, is this still true? Or am I believing a lot of people, a lot of trainings will talk about the tapes you listen to or the stories we tell ourselves or all these different things.
Yeah.
And when you live on autopilot because you're just trying to get through the day and you're not paying attention to much less to who you are, or what you need, you're just going to do what you've always done. But one of my favorite little hashtags that I use is want different, do different.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I use the acronym DSD, do something different. Do something different. Because and different doesn't need to be big, right? And I think that's a myth that we need to bust. It's not that you need to change your entire life overnight. It isn't. This is a practice, just like yoga, just like breath work, just like walking or training for a triathlon, wherever you are, like in your life. It takes practice.
Yeah.
And
You don't have to burn it all down.
oh, no, not at all. Not at all. And so one of the reasons in my own health journey, I'm also a breast cancer survivor. I carry the BRCA2 genetic mutation, which makes me high risk for breast cancer. And during my research of how to reduce my risk of getting sick again, I came across a really interesting study. And this is interesting because this is where boundaries and breast cancer risk reducing are so intertwined. I came across a study by a gentleman called Dr. W. Douglas Brody, and we'll go into this more when we have our chat during this amazing event. But he studied cancer personality traits. And there are common cancer personality traits. And guess what one of them is? Doing everything for everybody else and not yourself.
Yeah. Saw that one coming.
So,
I feel it.
and so it's documented, it's science backed that if you, and I'm not just talking to you if you've been diagnosed with breast cancer, but do you not want to be diagnosed with breast cancer? It's like we all have the power here by learning from different incredible women throughout the speakers and men too, I'm sure. But whoever is saying something to you that resonates with you here in your heart, right? Listen to what they're saying because this is something that we can all benefit from. So not only can it help lower your risk of breast cancer, but it also affects your energy every single day. So anybody dealing with chronic illness, anybody dealing with depression, anybody dealing with life being lifey, right?
Life, life being lifey, because it's going to happen. As soon as it's when.
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite quotes is by John Kabat-Zinn, who says, the waves of life will keep crashing. It's our ability to serve that makes the difference. I help women serve. And boundaries is one of the big ways that we do that because we need that.
Yeah.
And it's boundaries, not just, and I think often too, when we talk about boundaries, Sam, we talk about saying no to others or boundaries with others, but there's also another kind of boundaries, and it's the boundaries with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
It's the
We
boundaries
break
that,
our word to ourselves probably more than we do to anybody else.
yeah. Or we've got that voice, I call it that voice in our head, that mean one, that story one that, is just thoughts, words, things that are encoded in our brain. And we get that voice coming in. I call her negative Nancy. No disrespect to anybody called Nancy, but it just rolls off the tongue, right? So she comes in hot and heavy, and we get to set a boundary and say, I don't need to believe that story, or that story doesn't serve me anymore. That is a boundary that we get to set. And so there are so many different ways that we get, and you can see, and like my arms are going, I'm not Italian, but like my husband is, I'm like going into Italian mode here. It's like, I get so excited by this topic, as I know you do too, because it is just such a game changer
It's so critical.
in our lives.
Yeah. I am so excited for the summit. I'm so glad that we got connected, and that is like when I started to interview the women that wanted to be a speaker, which a lot of people for summits, they just no dissing on anybody else, but they just take anybody. But I took the time to meet with each person that's speaking because I wanted to make sure we had the right lineup. And it is only women, and it is only for women. I wasn't, no boys allowed. I've had guys speak before. A couple of my coaches are men.
Yeah.
And so I've allowed them in the space, but this one, I really wanted it to be intimate and just for the ladies. So
Different, isn't it? It truly is. And I know in my group coaching program, like it's only for women, and it's not, I don't work with men. I do. There's a different, again, I think it's so much to do with family and culture and science.
safe because
Feeling safe.
unfortunately, so many men get a bad rap because somebody did something wrong. If I had a bad experience with a man and then I think all men are bad, that's just not true. And, but we as women, we just behave different when we're just women versus if there's one man in the mix, or vice versa, the men behave different if there's one woman in the mix. And so it's just part of it. But I'm so glad that you're going to be connected and you're doing this. And I will make sure that the link to register, it is free to attend the summit. But ladies, you do have to RSVP. There'll be a link here. You'll enter your name and your email. It asks for your phone number, but you don't have to do that. Only do the phone number if you want text reminders. And after you click submit, you're going to be taken to another page where you'll complete your information to get all set up in the platform that we're using for the summit. And it's truly so exciting. You'll get a participants guide, a ton of freebies from the speakers, and a lot more. Make sure you RSVP. Whenever you're watching this video, Karin, I will see you soon, and I'm so happy to be connected.
Thank you again, Sam. Take care. And I'm excited to hear the other speakers as well. So
I know.
this is, so great. So thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.